How's it going, everybody? So Chance has been on one as of late with a few unusual events happening. He claimed that he's Jewish. That's right, he's suddenly Jewish, or at least half Jewish. He believes that Rupel, his father, is a Jewish man along with German ancestry, which is just kind of bizarre because he's never mentioned this ever before. And I think it's just another delusion he has because he's never really talked about it. And plus, if you know Cyraxx, he has some, well, let's just put it, interesting opinions about Jewish people. I'm not gonna delve deeper into that, but you know what I mean. But he also talks about this entire plan he has about the trolls and how he's gonna deal with them, and that he's gonna get out of this finally in the next year or so, and not understanding that he's not gonna follow up in any of this because Cyraxx has shown that he never follows up on anything unless if it's a threat to the trolls that he can actually perform. He probably won't do it, but I digress. Let's go ahead and get started.
And yes, my opinion may be unpopular, and that's fine. But I am here to expose the troll community for what they are doing. And to prove once and for all that using pure, undeniable logic, that I am not what these trolls claim I am. I'm going to prove once and for all using not just my situation, but former situations of people who have done real predatory things. I'm going to use these once and for all to show that I am not a predator. I do not talk to children like that. And that these trolls have, unfortunately, ulterior motives. You see, everybody for the last 6 years has been saying, like, he does this, he does that. But what I find very funny is this. I have asked all three branches of law enforcement the very same question. I have asked them the very same question, and I have shown them the screenshots from everything that went down. I showed them the live stream from that day. I sat down and I showed them and provided every ounce of proof that they needed to make their decision, their choice, and their decision, so that if they could arrest me, I wouldn't be able to run. They were right there. I wouldn't have anywhere to run to. And I even told them myself that if they felt that they needed to arrest me, they could. And I wouldn't fight it.
You know, it's wild that Chance talks about this like we haven't seen all the body cam footage on the internet. Like, it's all out there, Chance. We've seen what you say to the police, and it's usually underhanding what you actually do, or you're just straight up lying about whatever you're doing. And you do try to show them things, but they're not things that are needed for an investigation, like names, addresses, that sort of thing, Chance. That you're not giving them the right information about these people, and so they are not able to do anything. But just because you haven't been arrested for the things that you've done on the internet, like talking to kids, that doesn't mean that you're not a PDF. That doesn't mean that you're not doing weird stuff like that. Because you've shown in the past that you have done and will do stuff like that again and again and again. Like, Cyraxx, you talk to so many different women on Facebook. It's honestly disturbing, dude. And then on top of that, Cyraxx has had his Discord logs leaked out in the past, and they showed some pretty disturbing stuff. And I didn't show it too long ago, but he was arguing about the age of consent, and he was talking about how it was okay for him to date a 16-year-old if he wanted to. Just wild stuff he's talking about here. It's just like, Chance, you're 35. You shouldn't be talking about this. But it's Cyraxx, and he's gonna make every single excuse under the sun because it's legal or whatever.
If they were to do that, and I were to go out to try to meet up with them, and they called the police and said, hey, we got here, get out here. If they were to do that, then yes, I could have been arrested. But given the nature of what is going on and what has happened, and trust me, the police, the FBI, detectives, all three branches of law enforcement watch me. They watch my stuff every day. They keep an eye on me every day. And I even told them, you guys can watch my stuff. I don't mind. Yeah, You can even monitor me if you want. I don't mind because I have nothing to hide. And multiple times, police have said the same thing, that I'm not doing anything. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm merely trying to make the content that I enjoy making, which is my music and my artwork, and doing my gameplay videos. Now, I asked all three branches, what would, not that I am, but what would somebody have to do in order to be able to be arrested under those, those labels? Like, what would have to happen? First off, here's how a sting really goes down. You get a hold of law enforcement ahead of time, and then you set up a sting to where that person then comes out to try to meet up with said minor. But really that minor is an adult. And that adult then goes out, meets up with said minor, and then it goes one of two ways. Either that person gets arrested right on the spot and they get taken to jail right then and there, or in some cases, if it's a one-time thing, the police will give that individual a warning and tell them to show up for court and this and that and the other, and they will get court-ordered help. Sometimes that does happen. It's not very often that the court-ordered help does happen, but it does happen. It's very rare when it does, but it does happen.
So Chance just explained why he hasn't gotten arrested for this, because he hasn't tried to meet up with a minor, but that doesn't excuse the things that you've done over DMs, Chance. Everybody's seen it. It's a nasty little thing that you do, and besides, even if you weren't doing that, you're still doing other weird things like whipping your peen out on live streams and other such nasty actions. But he also doesn't understand that just because he hasn't been arrested for it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened or that he's not a PDF. I could go to the store and go steal something and not get caught for it and the law won't get me. But that doesn't mean I didn't steal it. That just means I didn't get caught. Like Chance, you haven't been arrested because you haven't been caught with a proper sting operation that would lead to your arrest.
What these trolls will do is they will start off really nice. They'll act like they're your friend. They'll find victims that look weak or vulnerable. They'll pay attention to what that person is. Like what that person's into. And they'll not only study that, they'll study that person's religion. They'll study, what that person is into. Like me, personally, not only am I a gamer and a music artist, I'm also, an anime nerd. I'm an alternative goth. I fall into that category. Have had since I was a fucking teen. And yes, I am Christian. Even though I do have Jewish heritage in me, and I do have pagan and Wiccan heritage in me, and Norse heritage, I still fall under Christianity because that's what I was raised under. But they will study that stuff about their victims. They will personally study this person's likes, their habits, what they do, what they post about, what they do in general.
Now, whenever I look at Cyraxx, I don't think, oh, this is a Norse guy. This guy looks like he's from Norway or something. Like, oh man, this guy's probably tough as nails for that one. Sailing the seas like a Viking. And then he's also a warlock or whatever. He's a Wiccan. Whoa, Cyraxx, that's so cool. Like, oh my god, are you kidding me, dude? This is the biggest piece of baloney I've ever heard him talk about in a long while. And then on top of all of it, he's Christian, and then he's goth. He's an anime nerd. Chance, you're not goth. Look at you. You're not goth. You barely wear black even. The only thing black that you wear is like your beanie sometimes that you're wearing on screen right now. Another one is your Demon Slayer shirt. And that's about it. The rest of your clothing is just like various shades of like yellow, green. You have those rainbow swing trunks. You have those burger shirts that you wear occasionally. It's not all goth. And you don't even wear makeup. Goths wear makeup from what I understand. So this is complete bogus. And it's all gonna be bogus because Chance doesn't even know what he believes in. I don't think Chance knows anything about Christianity or whatever he's talking about most of the time. But that's nothing new with Chance. He doesn't know anything about anything.
It starts out with little things like that. They'll be like, hey, like, because you're coming up on stream, is, could you, split the profit? Because you are, I guess, on my stream, I'm hosting the stream. I don't want you to not get paid, but I also feel like, I'm owed a particular cut. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't sound like a bad deal. It really don't. If anything, it sounds like a dream deal. Like, think about it, 50-50 payout for getting up on a live stream, that's pretty fucking good. But they'll do stuff like that. They will lure people in like that. And like I said, it starts with the little things like that. And then more and more, they try to change your content. Like, say you're doing gaming. Say Red Dead 2 online. Or you're playing GTA 5 online. Or whatever game you're playing. Say they did that whole stream thing that got you up on panel. You did a couple interviews. You hung out. You had fun. Then you go back to doing your own thing. From there, it'll be other little things. It won't seem like much. They'll probably be like, hey, why don't you throw this in? Why don't you throw this into your stream when your stream has nothing to do with what they're wanting to throw in. And they'll make it look like the game that you're playing isn't very popular, or the music you're doing isn't very popular, or the artwork that you're doing isn't popular. They will do anything they can to discredit what you are doing. They will do everything they can to discredit what you are doing.
Now, Chance is complaining about the buddy trolls, and I can't remember a single time where Chance was on a live stream and the whole thing was based on he'll get paid. Nobody likes Cyraxx receiving payments. Someone like William Gloryhole would immediately crush anybody who ever does that to Chance. Like, giving the goblin money is a big no-no on the internet, and there are very serious people around that. And reasonably so. He is not the best of people, Chance is. He's very often angry, hostile, and potentially dangerous to very weak people. But if you don't want to be messed with on the internet, if you don't want this stuff to happen and you're trying to do a gaming channel and these people are messing with that, then just avoid them. Just don't interact with them. That's all you gotta do. Just don't associate, don't interact, don't say anything, and just move on. Like, it'll all eventually go away. But Cyraxx never has stopped talking. He never has gone silent, despite what he may say. And plus, the people who are discrediting your content, Chance, or whatever you call it, is true, okay? Your gaming content is not interesting, it's not very good, your music is not good whatsoever. Hell, it's all AI generated content nowadays. So all of this about how they're trying to change his content, it's just bizarre to me because it's just them trashing on you, Chance. It's not like they did this whole thing of manipulating you into not playing video games. You're the one who took a kill stick and stopped all that from happening, dude.
People don't want to see gameplay. They want to see you freaking out. They want to see this. They want to see you get, do fake rage outs. And that's how they operate. And that's what they did with me. They sat there and made me believe that me doing my content wasn't popular. And so I went about my own thing and I did my own thing in a different way, which it ended up becoming popular. But then what they'll do is if they don't get what they want with you that way, they will resort to extreme measures. They will resort to measures that are not legal. They'll resort to measures that will make you look bad, that will ruin your life, that will ruin your, if you have a job, it'll ruin your work life. Like, these people do not play around. With me, they chose to go the making me look like, because they knew that by doing that, which, like I said, that's one of their more extreme routes, they will use that to discredit you and to isolate you. Like I said, if they can't get you by being nice, they will start to do forceful things here and there. And eventually that force becomes more and more and more prominent and more harder to ignore.
Something that Cyraxx could always have done was be part of a freak show, kind of be like his own one-man circus. Hell, he's already like that as he is right now, but he doesn't choose to embrace it like he could. You know, there are lots of people who pretend and exaggerate and act like they're crazy, and that's all that they're doing is acting, and they make a lot of money out of it by becoming celebrities and star actors in various comedy films, or maybe even voice acting. And that's something that Cyraxx has talked about before. He wanted to be a voice actor, but he never had the voice for that. Chance just always sounds like himself. He's very terrible at voice acting. As someone who's heard him voice act before, it's terrible. But you would think that if he wanted to do voice acting, he would be fine with making a fool out of himself, because that's kind of what you have to do when playing certain characters. Not every character you play as is going to be this badass epic hero. Sometimes you're going to be the joke. And that's something that Cyraxx can just never be, because he has too much pride, he has too big of an ego to let himself be the butt of the joke 100% of the time. Like, yes, Chance, people do want to see you flip out and lose your marbles and scream on the mic, but not in the music way. Nobody wants to see that. People want to see you react to what they do. And you've been very prone at doing that. You've been providing us a lot of content for the past couple days. Like, Cyraxx has posted probably about 15 videos in the past 3 days. I'm not even joking. He has done that. I think it's 16 now. But that's besides the point. The point is, Chance, you could have made something of yourself with freaking out on panel, and you just chose not to. You continue to be on here instead, moping around and being smug. One of the two.
Well, yes, there are times, like, you know, with what I've dealt with, that sometimes you do have to go off and get mad. You do have that right to stand up for yourself. And that is something I have always stood behind. But can I back it up? 1,000%, dude. 1,000% I can back it up. There's been three different incidences where people have showed up to try to do harm to me, and all 3 times I stood up and I stood my motherfucking ground. Now, whether you get your ass kicked or not, it don't matter. That's irrelevant as fuck. The fact that you are standing up for yourself is what truly matters. As I was saying, that's what these trolls want. They want the violence. They want the chaos. They want the hatred. They want to spread hatred, misinformation. They want to spread defamation and slander when you don't do what they want. And me, I am on the most hated list of the trolls. I am hated by the trolls, and I am glad that I am hated by the trolls, because I'm standing up and being the voice for those like myself who have been victimized. Why? Because I believe in standing up for what's right. I believe in not only defending myself, but honoring those that have passed and getting revenge and justice for those that have unfortunately taken because they weren't strong enough to handle the trolling. I represent those motherfuckers.
So Cyraxx at the beginning of this clip is talking about how he has tried to stand up for himself and his family, and that it doesn't matter if you lose a fight, it just matters that you went into it, which is just not true. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Are you gonna give yourself a participation trophy because you got beaten up by Marty or Low T, or try to go attack Aware of Myself? Dude, you were the aggressor in all of these. Your family was never in danger in all three of these scenarios, so don't try to make yourself out to be this heroic character representing people with autism or people with special needs or disabled people. Chance has always tried to do that, as he said in that clip. He straight up says that he represents everybody who suffers from trolling, and he's always tried to be this representative figure. Like I said, he tried to do this with autism, special needs, disabled people. He's always tried to do something. And it's clear as day that Cyraxx has not been elected to be the representative of anybody or anything other than himself. But Chance is just trying to inflate his ego by claiming that he's a representative to all of that and that he is popular, because if he's not convincing himself of this, then I don't know what he would do, to be honest. Like, what Cyraxx would do if he realized that everything he said was a farce and that none of it is true would probably break him. But I digress. Let's proceed.
Let me show you something. Over the last few days, I have been working on a plan. And mind you, my handwriting is not the best, so I do apologize. I have 3 pages of a plan here. All 3 of the next pages are plans. For me. For this whole next year. For not just now, not just today, but for the next 6 months to the next year and beyond. All 3 pages. Let me give you guys, if you guys can't read that, let me read some of this off to you. Facebook control security, which I got that under control. I got all that under control, so I'm not gonna read that off. Let's start with, the starter plan. Let's call it the starter package for getting your life back, if you will. Especially if you're in my situation. No panels for the trolls, meaning you don't get up on panels with them, you don't engage with them, you ignore them. No matter what they do, you do not get up on panel. Control content, meaning if there's a troll in your comments, ban them. Get rid of them. Block them out of your shit. And regulate who gets to see your content. Build real support, meaning, with your fans, your supporters, your friends, your family. Legal support. Definitely get you some legal support. I'm currently working on that part of myself. I'm currently working on trying to get legal support, especially with as violent as everything has gotten.
So Cyraxx makes this entire list, and it's quite boring because it's a bunch of stuff that he isn't gonna do. He's not gonna get off the internet. He's not gonna stop getting on panel. He's not gonna control his content. Not only that, but he also talks about hiring people, and he doesn't have any money to hire anybody. He mentioned there at the very end of that clip that he's gonna get a legal team and get people to help him legally, in which, didn't you say that like a week ago, dude, whenever Nintendo was supposed to crash down on William Gloryhole and John? It wasn't that long ago you said that, Chance, and you completely forgot about it, or you found out it wasn't actually gonna happen, so you don't mention it. But I feel like he still believes that Nintendo is gonna go after William. I'm not sure where that is in his head, but wherever it is, it's not brought up. However, he also talks about being an alpha male. That's right, I'm not even exaggerating. Chance is talking about being an alpha male in this next clip, and let me tell you, it's something, man.
You want the real alpha males? The real alpha males are the motherfuckers like me. That we may get our ass kicked, but we still come back hard swinging. We still get back up, and we don't fucking stop. We keep moving forward. We don't bow down. We don't fucking break. We ask for help when we fucking need it. And we don't sit there and fuck with people like you do. So to all y'all trolls that are out there doing all this dumb shit, supporting John and William Gloryhole, they only like to pretend that they are. Because a real man, a real alpha male, doesn't back down for shit. A real alpha male stands up for what he believes in. A real man ain't afraid to admit when he gets his ass kicked. A real man ain't afraid to admit when he's fucked up and tries to do better.
So let's do a little rundown of what we've talked about so far. Chance is Jewish, he's an alpha male, he's goth, he's alternative. Chance seems to adopt every single culture and subculture to ever exist. And it's all on the basis that he wants to be great at everything, the best man around no matter where he goes. However, speaking of best men around and gals, I gotta do my shout outs of the best people. Halloween Nerd, Dreadhead David 420, Tannis Finest, Sunday Smoker, Tubby Thunder 43, Jin Not Jin, Trixie Bella, JoJo's Woodshed, Mark Pena, Christopher Zazel, Vaney P. Ness, Rax Labs, Trademark, Wixie Pink 42, Loopy, Dudester, Fearless Jake, Vilify Exile, Unknown Poster, Smithers, Jolanda, Not a Lizard Man Honest, Jeff of David Clan, Okie Doll, Wild Weaver Gaming, Madam Gooseberry, Oso David Grunga, Jason Cruel, Depressed Rabbit, Brett VT, Zerl Champion of First Claw, Oversoul, The Black Pearl, Edward Walden Hain, Nick Cliff, Atomic Renegade, Steve's Creepy Van, Evan Reed, Curse Decals, Lord of Worlds, TJ Bender, James, Honda Civic, Rabatason, Bakano Sensei, Mochi Cakes, Mad 33s, and Dark Chocolate. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.